make the perfect pizza. So I want to tell you guys about my experiences so far. I have not had very good experiences, and trust me, it can go horribly, horribly wrong. I'm sure you've seen the new idea about a cauliflower crust, and I can tell you it's a horrible idea. Just don't do it. Don't make the same mistake I did. So, to tell you guys a little bit more about me and how I have become quite an expert, I want to tell you about how much I've been doing homemade. So, since my husband and I got married over 5 years ago, I have been making homemade pizzas every Friday night since. We've tried thin crust, thick crust, stuffed crust, the gross cauliflower crust, and a whole wheat crust. And we've finally figured out what works best for us and for our taste buds. So, you just have to remember that the perfect pizza is all in the little details. So the main points are first, the dough prep, second, assembling the toppings, and third, baking to perfection. So we'll start with number 1, dough prep. So what you want to do before, when you go to the store, you want to get a flour that has a high gluten in it, because that helps form stronger bonds in the dough. So when you're mixing it up, you want all your ingredients include flour, olive oil, garlic, sugar, salt, yeast, and water. So you mix all of those up until it starts to roll around in your bowl and kind of chase each other just around the bowl. Then you take it out and you want to knead it by hand for about 5 minutes. And so when you're doing that, you want to make big fists, and you want to take it from the outside of the dough and to punch it down, bring the edges out with your fist and punch it down into the center. You want to do that for about 5 minutes. Then you want to begin rolling out the dough. So I'm going to show you guys with my trusty rolling pin. So you have your ball of round dough. You want to put it in the center, and you want to just barely push out so that it spins just a little bit. And as you're coming up to the edge of the dough, you want to lift your rolling pin so that you don't crush the edge of the pizza dough. So then when it's about the size of a personal pizza, then you want to move it onto a pizza stand. And then you want to roll it out some more so that your dough gets to the size of the pizza stone, and again you want to lift it up so that you don't flatten the crust into the stone, because if you do that, then your crust won't plump up and look really nice. Next main point is assembling the toppings. So you want to have a good sauce on the base, whether you want chunky or you want just nice and thin. It doesn't matter. You can have whatever you want. Just remember that you don't need too much. So usually you don't need more than about maybe a third of a cup, but I even like to do less than that, like maybe a little bit less than a fourth of a cup, because we've all had, I'm sure everyone has had Pizza Hut, and they just have a ton of sauce, and the cheese always falls off just because there's so much sauce and it doesn't stick to the pizza. So don't do too much sauce. Then you want to mix 2 different types of fats for cheeses. You want to do whole fat and low fat. And the reason you mix the 2 is because the whole fat cheese cooks a little bit more crisp, so it gives a better texture when you're eating. Third, now this one is really important, is you want to be a little bit methodical about all your toppings and where you put them. Because we all know that when we're going to go pick a piece of pizza, that we look at the ones that we want to have the most toppings. So I might want this one over here because it has the most pepperoni, or this one over here because it has the most sausage. So when you're making it, you want to kind of place them all evenly, so you don't kind of run into that problem. So we like to add mushrooms, onions, pepperoni, bell pepper, sausage, and so many other things, but those are just our basic favorites. And the last main point is baking it to perfection. So rewind all the way back to just after we got back from the store to get the special flour. And you want to preheat your oven at 425 for at least an hour. Usually that's about 35 minutes before I start actually baking my pizza. Then, once we fast forward back to we put on all our toppings, then we want to bake the pizza for about 12 to 15 minutes until the cheese gets brown and bubbly. That's when it's just looking really good, and that's when that whole fat cheese has gotten nice and crispy. And then we take it out, and we just want to do a quick sprinkle of salt, but you don't want to do too much, maybe a quarter of a teaspoon, maybe less. And you just sprinkle all across the top just to give it a nice finishing flavor. So remember, the perfect pizza is all in the details. And remember the key points. First are dough prep. Second, topping assembly. Third, perfect baking. You know how delicious a piece of pizza pie can be. It can be hot, cheesy, and crisp. And take it from me, you don't want to try anything too far out there because pizza is good just the way it was made, plain and simple.